This is about three different types of touch points that an organization or an agency has through which they communicate with the consumer.
Because of the consistency in that, you create consistent eyeballs. And those eyeballs keep on seeing you and they start recognizing you and they start interacting with you. A lot of people have this approach that I need to sell this to you.
Are agents not able to communicate their value?
That person should, after that phone call, have the craving to come and meet you.
That's
How do we create that craving? I decode it into three segments: essential, desirable, nice to have. So if the GDP is stable or not even moving an inch up and your property prices are skyrocketing, that's a bubble.
Hello everybody, today is another takeover of Capella's Brick Buzz podcast with me, Asad Creates. Mr. Asim Hussain is in attendance. We are today actually quite excited to talk about a subject that we were talking off camera earlier. This is about three different types of touch points that an organization or an agency has through which they communicate with the consumer, with the market overall. So very interesting subject. I'm already quite interested because we've had a kind of a conversation before going on camera. First of all, why did you feel the need to address this subject?
First of all, it's no more a hostile takeover because you've been taking over quite some.
By the way, I have never said hostile takeover. I've just said takeover.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just pulling your leg. So that's the first time somebody would see you actually smile on a podcast then.
I know this is something I have to consciously do.
So, no, that's perfectly fine. So now you're a part and parcel of Team Capella, and you've been helping us navigate through the challenges of doing podcasts for now some time, and we consider you as now part of Team Capella. So that's
the pleasure is mine. Pleasure is mine.
And whenever I have a discussion with you on any subject, it's always very enlightening, and we are not only scratching the surface on those topics because you interact with a lot of very credible people in their area of influence and in their own domains. So that perspective, when you bring to the table, actually is very helpful in the due diligence that we have to carry out on any subject. That's what I feel. So coming back to the topic, I was talking to my team and I was reading upon it. There are three touch points any organization has when they interact with the clients or the clients interact with them. So there are always three touch points. In this day and age, the first interaction is digital.
Your digital touch points are, of course, social media. Then
we have our own property portals. Then all the podcasts and everything that we do. The social media posts that we put out there. The email blast that we do.
Yeah.
So these are all combined, I would say, digital presence. A digital footprint. Because of the consistency in that, you create consistent eyeballs. And those eyeballs keep on seeing you and they start recognizing you and they start interacting with you because over a period of time, you establish that credibility.
Right.
That's what I feel. Then there is a transition which is neither completely digital nor completely physical. So there are three touch points. First, let's discuss those touch points. The first one is digital, the second one is physical, the third one is emotional. So we've discussed the digital. There is a transition from the digital to the physical. And midway between that is the phone call that normally people would do after seeing your digital presence out there. For example, in your case, we saw a lot of your podcast. And then we thought that, yes, over a period of time, we are seeing this. This person appears to be credible. This person appears to know what he actually does. he appears to have a certain persona that we can associate ourselves with. So these are the things that any client would see and feel. And then the second thing they would do is set up an appointment. How would they do that? They would pick up a phone and call you, drop you a text message, drop you a WhatsApp message. So if somebody calls me up,
which is the main thing of your business.
Exactly.
Call people.
Exactly. Call people.
Schedule a meeting. Close the deal.
Close. Yes. But I don't believe
meetings.
in, by the way, cold calling. I'm sorry, we'll be having tea in between. That's always supposed to be the creative juices flowing.
It's the catalyst.
It's a catalyst. So the second touch point is then before the second physical touch point, you will receive a call. How you respond to that call? How clear are you? Are you appearing to be annoyed? Are you appearing to be in a hurry? Are you appearing to be somewhat perturbed about some other thing? That somehow or the other is transmitted through your voice. I know this for a fact. I've been doing this for a very long time. Trust me on this. How clearly, comfortably, easily you communicate with people and how you make them feel goes a long way.
So that way, it kind of the third touch point, which is the emotional touch point, kind of overlaps.
Kind of starts from here. If they want to know where your office is,
do you think the emotional
how clearly
touch
are you?
It should be the second stage, and then
No. Because emotional touch point, I'll come to that later. So you set up a meeting, then they come and see you. They physically come and see you in your office, in a coffee shop, wherever you decide to meet. That meeting would dictate whether it's going to go to the emotional part or not. Because you already have a persona created. A perception of you is already created in somebody's head. They would walk into that meeting with some expectations and that persona. The problem at times...
You think people don't do themselves justice at that stage? Or they don't perhaps utilize the potential of that opportunity?
People at times, for example, if... I'm very superficial, hypothetically speaking. I'm very superficial. I have hired a very nice digital creative team who creates an amazing persona of me. Everybody comes and says, wow, what a digital presence you have, be it the lifestyle, be it how my posts appear. But if I do not have the depth in my personality, when I'm actually going to meet a person, that person would detect that, would decipher that, and would say, no, this is not somebody I would like to work with. So that physical meeting can take you to the third point, which is the emotional connect that you will have. Otherwise, you will not. Now, what we see, for example, I'm not saying everybody does that, but there are a lot of influencers out there. You see a very flashy lifestyle, watches, bags full of money, private jets, exotic cars. So that's a persona they're building themselves. How many times have you actually met certain people and found out that that persona was completely false? That was filled with just nothing but hot air.
No, I understand that.
At times, I'm not saying it happens every time, but with portraying those things, or are you meeting somebody whom you have heard talk sense, talk knowledge, shared numbers, share credible information, and then when you meet them, you say, oh, somebody must have prepared, because when I come across them, when I sit across the table with them, they're busy looking at their phones. They cannot maintain and hold eye contact. For me, that's a very negative connotation, that I speaking to you and I cannot, or you cannot hold eye contact.
So in the real estate space, how do you see this playing out? What are you trying to influence with your team, with real estate brokers watching this?
So-
What do you want
so-
to say to them? Where are they lacking? What should they?
So
pay
I
more?
think the approach has to be correct. A lot of people have this approach that I need to sell this to you. My team's approach has always been, and I emphasize on that, is I need to help you buy something. Whatever you want to buy, I need to help you buy that. I don't need to sell you what I have. On the face of it, this appears just a twisting of words, but if you go into the philosophical aspect of it, that mindset that you walk in with, that's the real game. So I have something to sell. Okay, perfectly fine. But if you come to me is because you have a problem, you have X amount of money, you want to either invest or you want to buy a home. Now, home, if you have to buy, that has an emotional connect with it. Even if you want to make an investment, that's a problem you have. You have X amount of money and your problem is you don't know where to invest. So am I the right person who's going to sit across the table, listen to your needs and wants and give you the best possible solution for you? Or am I going to say, okay, I have this property to sell and I'm going to sell it to you? So that's my take on it.
But tell me something. Sometimes isn't it just good to be a salesperson?
Yes, but what are you selling? Okay, I'll explain it to you.
There's abundance of knowledge in the market.
No, I'll explain it to you.
People understand what's available. There's enough information available readily to consumers. There's enough data available to consumers. There's enough properties and options and opportunities are marketed sufficiently to people who buy properties.
I still have my reservation on this point. You have data available. You don't have information available. There's a difference between data and information.
Right.
Unprocessed is data, and after you process it, it becomes information. So you might have data available. Are you able to correlate that data? Are you able to decipher
context?
That? Reference to context. So are you able to decipher and decode everything and say, okay, from this data, this is what I need to do. Everybody is talking about data. Okay, this happened. Okay, what impact this is going to give? If the market trend is, okay, the dollar parity is here. If people are investing in commodities, for example, when commodities prices are increased, invest those 10-15 minutes in the morning rather than scrolling into reels. I'm not against, because I do most of the reels myself and you do that. But the first 15 to 20 minutes of your awake time should be spent on seeing what's happening in the world today. People who are investing in commodities, for example, that means they are not trusting the other spheres of investments. That's why they're taking money out from it and investing in commodities, and you see the gold price is going up. When the real estate and all other spheres of investments are doing very well, then people would sell that gold and don't hold on to that and would invest in real estate. So you see the prices of gold going down at times and you see the prices of real estate going up, so you can correlate the market sentiment. Those things. So in isolation, gold prices going up and gold prices going down is an indicator, but indicator to what? How do you correlate that data with your other spheres of life? So that information.
Give us an example.
I just gave you an example of this gold. Like gold prices going up means that people are holding on to commodities. People say, okay, I want something secure, buy gold, keep it there. The real estate is not. What happens at times that, what if the stock market is going down? That means people are now people are jittery about that stock price. When we talk about bubble index, for example, people say, oh, this market has a bubble. Do they understand what's a bubble? Oh, we call it a bubble because the prices are just increasing and going up and going up and going up. So it has to be a bubble. That in isolation doesn't form a bubble. A bubble forms when the property prices are going up and the economy is not going up. The rest of the indicators of the economic indicators, for example, your GDP is not going up. So if the GDP is stable or not even moving an inch up, and your property prices are skyrocketing, that's a bubble, because it's not sustainable by the other factors. But if your economy is going up, if your GDP is a good indicator, it's going up, and the prices are also going up, then it's natural. It's nothing to be afraid of. So those factors combined would give you an indication what's a bubble, what other influences you're getting from the market, and how do you correlate them, and how do you form a credible, well-informed decision. So that being said, now come to the emotional connect, emotional touch point. You have a client who came in, saw your digital posts, liked that, gave you a call, was very courteously greeted, nicely explained when to meet, what to do, set up a meeting, comes in, meets you for that meeting, and starts to have business association with you. Then that business association would take you from point A to point B to point C. How clear are you in your communication? How transparent are you in your communication? How empathetic are you in your communication? Are you interested in understanding what this person actually needs? Everybody has aspirations. A lot of exotic cars are not practical sales, are not practical purchases, but are aspirational purchases. A lot of commodities are aspirational purchases. Are you able to understand, as a salesperson, decode, decipher, and relate to that aspiration? If somebody, I haven't met a person who has bought a Lambo and was worried about the fuel mileage. How many people who actually own a Lambo, when you talk to that person, he would give you all the figures starting from the horsepower, the torque, the gear ratios, the engine power. He would never talk about what's the mileage of that, or what per gallon or per liter mileage of that car. Have you ever come across such a person?
That's true, I haven't.
So that's an aspirational purchase, and that's an aspirational sale. On the other hand, somebody who wants to buy an electric car would be more worried about the petrol prices, the fuel prices, how it's going up, how it's going down, how is it affecting his everyday commute, and then they would make that well-informed decision that I want to buy an electric car. That's why most of the sales of electric cars normally, for example, Tesla comes into single motor, dual motor, and tri-motor. Most of the sales are for the dual motor and not the tri-motor, because people are not looking for utmost performance, but want a balance of performance and economy. So you have to understand the market base. You have to understand what people need and want, and are you willing to be a part of the solution? When people come to me and say, what are you selling? My simple answer is my time and my expertise. And if then there is a value association with that, then I don't have people who will come to me and say, okay, you're charging me X amount of commission, can you reduce the commission? Because then it's not a price, it's a value.
Are agents not able to communicate their value?
At times, because for them, the 70% of emphasis lies on the digital platform, 20% on the physical, and 10% on the emotional. Whereas in my humble opinion, it has to be 30, 30, and 40.
On that,
for example, I'll give you another example. The tagline that we have says building relationships for a lifetime. That means I cannot just sell you a property and disappear. I'm not that magic genie that you rub a lamp and I come and grant you a wish of purchasing a property and then disappear. Because that would take your relations from point A to point B. If I want to go with the mindset of building relationships for a lifetime and I sell you a certain property, I know I'm the one who will help you in handover process, leasing out that property, maintaining that property, selling that property. And if I have sold you a lemon, as they say, then it will be very hard for me to resell it. And that means if my mindset is to be a long-term business association or a business venture for you, then I need to start my relationship on that note. And I cannot sell you something with good conscience that I wouldn't have otherwise. So at times your clients would have certain needs and wants and certain aspirations. How practical they are, how applicable they are, how do you reach out to your client and say, I understand what you want, but I also understand what you need. And I would guide you in, first of all, meeting the criteria for your need. And if in the process, we can help you achieve what you want, why not? So I decode it into 3 segments: essential, desirable, nice to have.
Okay.
You have X amount of money, you want to make an investment, perfectly fine. Are you looking for capital gain or a rental yield? And it's not just 100% capital gain or 100% rental yield, it's always a percentage. So what is essential for you? First of all, if essential for you is money coming to your bank account every month, that means rental yield, not capital gain. There is going to be an element of capital gain, but your need is rental yield. If I offer you capital gain, it's not helping your need. So essential for you is that.
That should be the first question.
Desirable is something that, yes, you have a substantial amount of rental yield, but you'll get the desired amount of capital gain from this project. Nice to have is anything above and beyond. If I can, with my experience, point out towards something, but I cannot be focusing primarily on something which is nice to have 5 years down the line, where your today's need is rental yield.
Right.
So it's not just a simple solution. Every client, every person will have those needs and wants. And you in sales, or me being in sales, or any member of my team being in sales, will have to sit across people and decode that and be empathetic about it.
How do you apply that in the off-plan market? Off-plan market, where properties will be handed over 3 years later, anything real will really happen on that property, other than, of course, values rising, they will happen after a certain period of time. How do you apply that conversation into Imar's the Valley? Let's say you're having a conversation with a client about, and they want to invest in the Valley.
Well,
how would that conversation go?
very interesting. That conversation is going to be an interesting conversation, because Valley is again a master community.
Right.
What actually do you need? Do you need, is it, for example, you plan to shift there 3 to 4 years down the line? Yes, I plan to shift there 4 years, 3 years down the line. How many kids do you have?
Where does
Are they growing?
Does this fall in desirable, nice to have, or essential?
This is essential. If you have 4 kids, and if I start selling you a 1-bedroom apartment and then the amount of money that you can spare. For example, a payment plan comes to me now today, and I know this is a 4 years payment plan. That means every year you have to shelf out 20% of the value. Do you have that disposable income of 20% per year? Because now, previously there were times when you had a 60-40 payment plan, and 3 to 3.5 to 4 years you were just paying 60%, and you can always, or a 40-60 payment plan. 40-60, that 40% during construction and 60% on handover. At handover you can always get a mortgage, and that mortgage would indicate that yes, at that particular period of time you can go for a mortgage which is up to 75%, and if you get around 60%, then that's met. Now the new MR, for example, payment plan, the Palace that just came out today, is 20 20 20 20 and 20 at on completion, which is April 2028. So in those 4 years, every year you have to pay 20%, and on handover, when the property is ready, you again have to pay 20%. So do you have the capacity of, for example, if you want to buy a 3-bedroom, you desire to buy a 3-bedroom, what's your financial capability? Do you sit with your client and tell them that this 20 means this month you have to shelf out this month, explain in detail, or just rush them and say, okay, if I sell a 3-bedroom, I make more commission, and I will do, and I say, yes, don't worry, everything will fall into place and everything will happen. Definitely everything will inshallah happen one day, but have you made a roadmap towards it? Have you actually had the decency and the time to sit with your client and explain this, the milestones, what time, what payments are supposed to be made, and are they comfortable in making that, or will that start giving them sleepless nights? And how that will come back to you, I'll tell you. You make a sale, you have initial 20% that the client has saved for some time, so you make the initial 24%, 20% plus 4%, you make that payment. The next payment they are not able to make. After 6 months, they will come back to you and say, Asim, I can't make this payment, I need to sell this property. You have to sell this for me. Have you explained it to them that before this milestone is met and this is the amount of payment you have made, you'll not be able to sell this property? For example, you would say that, okay, before you have made 40% of the payment and you have the SPAs and everything signed and cleared, you will not be able to sell that property. You have not explained it to them. So after making the 24%
Most people don't
payment,
know that, right?
yeah, but that's why you need to invest in that brand partner, in that credible person. And that's the value addition you will bring from your social media and your digital platforms, that rather than flashing a watch or a car or a jet set lifestyle or a bag full of money, are you communicating these things to your prospective and your present client base? That yes, you not only have the knowledge, but are willing to share this with your client and willing to help your client in making more well-informed decision. Where does this go? How impressed would you be about which watch I am wearing, except that yes, Asim has money. Okay, how does that translate into my relations with you?
So how does a typical conversation, I know how a typical conversation goes between a real estate agent talking to a potential buyer for the first time.
We did this role play. Somebody picks up the phone and goes, hi, my name is Asim. I am calling you today to sell you this property and this and this and this. We have excellent thing. And the person doesn't even care if how I'm responding. I would say, okay, just WhatsApp it to me. And people are happy with that. WhatsApp to you what? Are you interested? Is this the right time? Have I caught you off guard? Do you want me to spell it out to you, or can you gauge it from my tone of voice? If you cannot gauge it from my tone of voice, if I appear to be agitated, if I appear to be in a hurry, if I'm sitting in a meeting, if I say, I'm not, are you able to decipher that as a salesperson? It's very imperative that you decipher that. And if you are not able to decipher that, then it's all going to be lost in translation. And I'm sorry, then I, as a salesperson, am living in a dinosaur age. I'm going to be extinct. They're going to be a major meteor shower and I'm going to be like crushed. Because I'm not just picking up those cues. At times, most of my clients are international. They have different time zones. If I pick up the phone and I hear a voice of somebody just like not in the right frame of mind for whatsoever reason, then I say, okay, I'm sorry I disturbed you, just wanted to hear your voice, see if you're happy, see if everything is okay. I have something to discuss, but I will call you later. I'll call you back later. That person will give you a call themselves when they are in a better position and they're better disposed to actually listen to what you have to say. Somebody is driving. You don't know.
Let's talk.
Are you as a salesperson aware of all these factors and then reach out to that person? You're not. But you will not be able to decipher what that person is doing except from the tone of his voice or her voice or the expressions they have, and you have to pick up on those.
Let's give people a template of how to talk to people who inquired an incoming query.
Oh, that's a massive task. That's
somebody who has already inquired, whether through digital marketing, whether through property portals, somebody who came to you asking for something that you've advertised. Let's give people a template about how that conversation should go. So that you can obviously call someone and say, hi, I'm replying. I'm getting in touch with you because you got in touch with us. How does that then?
That's what I've been trying to say. There is no template. Every day, Asad, when I meet you, if it's raining outside, you're in a different frame of mind. If it's 45 degrees temperature outside and you had to walk half a mile to come and see me and park somewhere and come and see me, you are in a different frame of mind. If you've walked in the summers in Dubai, the first thing I need to do is to greet you, make you sit down, offer you a glass of water or a cold drink or something like that.
I made it a point about the handshake.
Yeah. How do I greet you? The reason I have those firm handshakes is I always want to come. I overdo it, I understand. Or you need to get into better shape. Sorry. I take it from that perspective.
The latter is more relevant, yeah.
Yeah. But my point is, am I actually happy to see you? Or am I, it's that time. Oh, I'm not happy. Oh, when will it be over? Just shake his hand. No, it has to communicate that I'm genuinely happy. If you have left your office, packed your stuff, come to see me with all the stuff, am I actually genuinely happy to see you? Do I resonate that? How do I communicate that? With a smile, undivided attention, and a firm handshake. Anything less than that, I'm sorry, it's not good enough. Because whatever you have done in this traffic, in this heat, carrying all that, coming here, and if I can't extend even that courtesy to you, then I'm sorry, on so many scales that's wrong. Even for basic human scales, that's wrong.
Let's go back to this. So let's briefly create a template for somebody calling someone who first reached out. A real estate agent contacting somebody who first reached out. What should be the main...
Okay, how do you get somebody's number? You find it on a portal, or you have a client list, or you've given a
No, this is about
database.
you did a digital marketing campaign and somebody left
Somebody
their email
somebody
or their phone
reaches
number.
out to me and a number say, okay, what is that specific project? Are you interested in a specific project, or you are willing to invest? What is the time frame you're looking to invest? What's the amount you're willing to invest? When is it a good time for having a detailed discussion on that?
Okay.
People push for a meeting immediately. It will never happen. You need to understand that that person should, after that phone call, have the craving to come and meet you.
That's
How do we create that craving? Have we shared this information? Okay, you want to invest 2 million. Okay, what's the time frame that you will have that? Are you looking for off plan? Are you looking for ready? What is the time frame? Ask meaningful questions, insightful questions, in-depth questions. It has to you have to get the information, because you have to present a tailor-made solution. What is the reason people go to all those designers and have tailor-made suits, and you don't just go and buy a standard suit that is available, which is a standard fit? At times it may fit you, at times it may not look that awesome on you, because it's not customized and tailored to your specifications. Why do you see that people go and there is a niche that, okay, if you want to buy a Rolls Royce, everything is customizable. Why?
Because you expect that from
You
Rolls
expect
Royce.
that from, so that's the value.
When you go to a fashion designer and you want your clothes to be customized, it's because you expect that from that fashion designer.
So
that
the
when you
person,
go to Varoin
yes,
and get your suit stitched, you expect Varoin to give you a custom solution.
Veroin will do two things for you. He understands you as a person, and in addition to his signature, whatever suit you're wearing, that would also indicate your personality type.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And it will be suited to your body shape and body type, right? So those are two things. When people have seen your social media, they are expecting to get the same thing. They know a template that they see there. Okay, this person is knowledgeable. This person is going to, they expect that this person is going to bring that A game when they are going to interact with you.
Yes, there is a lot of expectation of people
And
when they talk.
and that expectation is formed where? On your digital media, on your digital platforms.
So real estate agents then don't understand the level of responsibility they need to take on that
Yes.
phone call. There is a
Yes.
huge level of expectation that is on you to deliver, because they've come to you because they expect a custom job. They expect a tailor-made solution of their property search.
Yes.
And this is what.
That's specifically, do you know the numbers? Do you know what you're talking about? Have you done your due diligence? Have you done the legwork? Have you done all the computations and calculations and come up with something which is tangible that you have to offer? Okay, 3 years down the line, this will happen like this. How? Do you have the data? Do you have the trend analysis to back that up? Do you have some credible information? You see, data, everybody has data. Oh, in isolation, data is very misleading. In isolation, it has to be converted from data to information. And that information has to be put together which makes sense.
Agree. Did we go into detail about the emotional touch
These
point?
are all emotional touch points. I would say.
I think in a way we've discussed.
In a way we have so after physical emotions, when you understand what your client is going through, at what point in time they would have to make what payments, are they able to make that, are they happy about that purchase they have made, is that an aspirational purchase, is that something they were aspiring to do. Like we discussed the Lambos, we discussed the different brands. What's the difference between buying a Rolex and buying a Casio?
No, let's
Both are
keep
watches.
it in the real estate
But
context.
let's keep it in the real estate. So you are going to buy something in for example, Burj Khalifa.
Downtown could, Burj Khalifa.
Burj Khalifa,
Anything in
you
downtown could be an aspirational purchase.
Anything in downtown would be an aspirational purchase. Right now, if you're looking for something, you say, okay, I want to maximize
Keep it up.
my capital gain. Now that capital gain is going to be maximized by something that is going to be released soon. That is about to be released. That is in pre-launch state. That will actually maximize your gains. Rather than something which is released, developed, delivered, there's nothing left to your imagination. Anything, for example, Dubai South. Dubai South, I believe, is going to be the next big game changer. Now, when I say that, am I saying this in isolation? Or am I correlating it with Ittihad Rail, with the new airport coming up, with the new metro line coming up, with the near vicinity of, for example, the Port Jabal Ali? Am I correlating it with downtown, which has metro connectivity, which was near to the Dubai airport, the present Dubai airport, near to Port Rashid? So all those factors, near to DIFC, so all those factors, did they help in establishing downtown? Yes. In augmenting and increasing the value of downtown? Yes, they did. Are those factors or similar factors going to be present for Dubai South? Yes, they are. You have done your due diligence, you have done your homework, you have correlated all the points, and those points in a understandable, in a meaningful way, when you explain to your clients, then you help them in making a better, well-informed decision. So you're not selling them something, you're helping them buy the right property or the right investment that they should have bought.